Hi traders, this is Cynthia of Day Trade Forex, and in this video I'm going to show you how to access the Forex Factory calendar and set up the filters for your time zone and just to be able to see only the red news events. So the address for the Forex Factory calendar is right below this video, and you should go there first because one of the important things about Forex trading is keeping up with fundamental news, political news, economic news, and in the Forex Factory calendar they have news latest stories, which is just the best sample of economic and political news that I've seen all in one place. So you should really get in the habit of reading the news stories, because a lot of these news stories really impact the currency markets. And I was just reading in one of these how Trump's Twitter tweets really move the US dollar and it seems like he likes to tweet on Fridays, so the US dollar really can move on Fridays. And I know yesterday was Friday and I noticed that, but I didn't know why, and now I know it's Trump tweeting. That's kind of funny. But anyway, so back to the Forex Factory calendar. What you need to do after reading some stories, you want to set up a filter for the calendar. The calendar is really important. So here at the top of the menu bar for the Forex Factory website, click on calendar and you'll see that this week we have this trading week, and you can click here to move it to the next week. So right now this is what I'm going to be paying attention to in the coming week, and this is a Saturday that I'm making this video, but what I normally do is on a Sunday I come to the Forex Factory calendar and I look at all the red news events. So I schedule my very important trading times for the coming week based on the red news events in this calendar, because the market moves the best, and I personally don't like to sit for hours at my computer. I like to be in and out in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours at the most. I don't like to sit here any more than 2 hours, and I don't think you should either. I don't think it's healthy physically or emotionally, mentally, psychologically. I think we need to confine our trading efforts to a mere 2 hours a day. I think that that's a wonderful idea. Okay, so now depending on what your time zone is, you need to set up the Forex Factory calendar for your time zone. So the first thing you do is go right here to where the time is. This is my current time. Well, it might be, I don't know. I have to check. So I'm in Mexico. I'm not in Mexico City, but this is the time zone for me, and right now daylight savings time is on, so my time is 11:23 a.m. That is perfect. So you need to adjust for your time zone. So you just click and you find the nearest place to where you're living so that you're actually in the time zone for where you're living, because the Forex Factory calendar can be set up with this time zone filter so that the trades that it shows you are going to be with your local time. That's very important. So go back to the calendar after you've changed and saved your settings here for your time zone. Then you want to go to this little green, it looks like a white filter in the green box. Click that. And you really don't need to see the yellow events, you don't need to see the orange events, but you do need the red events. And we don't need to see bonds. And speeches are important because Brexit is coming up, and any speech coming out of the UK concerning Brexit is very important. Often also the US Feds will give speeches about the US interest rates, especially for FOMC on a Wednesday. So you do want speeches. You probably want miscellaneous. I don't know that you need housing, but you do need all of these other events. So just when you have this set up, and oh, the other thing is we don't need CNY, that's the Chinese yuan, but they don't affect the currencies that we're trading. So you can uncheck the CNY. After you've got everything set up, click Apply Filter. And now you can see, oh, this is this past week. So we want to click here and go to next week. So now we've got all the red news events coming up for Sunday through Friday next week. And I'm going to personally be at my computer any of these times that's convenient for me. For instance, I live in CST on the beach in Mexico, so I do not want to get up in the middle of the night for the London session. Any news coming out of London in the middle of the night, I won't get up for. But I don't see any news events here for the UK in the coming week. It's mostly the US dollar. Friday, CAD event happens. This is an important one. So I will be trading. These are all reasonable trading hours for me, so I'm planning to be at my computer and have the appropriate charts open for the country or the currency, for the currency that's being addressed with these red news events. So you can see impact is red. Those are very important. This weekend we're having G7 meetings, and actually that means when the market opens on Sunday night, it means that there could be some pretty strong moves in some of the currencies based on what was discussed this weekend at the G7 meeting. So Sunday night market open is something to be very careful about, especially in the first opening hour. So that's how you set up your red Forex factory news events, and this is something that everybody should do, and you should be checking this. At least if you don't have my advanced or extra advanced Green Tomatoes for Newbies, so you only have the basic system, then you absolutely have to do this. You have to look at it every Sunday and look at the red news events for the coming week. Pay attention, make a post-it note and pin it to your monitor to remind you, or just come back and look every day to see what's coming up. And be careful around the red news events. I like to trade them, but as a newbie, you have to be absolutely sure that you're on the long-term trend side and expect possible whipsaw in the first 15 minutes of the news event being released. If you're not already in a trade, you can wait 15 minutes after the news event and then get in trading with the major trend. So just be careful around the red news events because they can really move the market. If you're already in a trade, just make sure that it's possible that you should exit a trade if you don't already have profits locked in, or just wait 15 minutes until after the event and then jump into the trade. And that's actually a little easier, maybe a little safer. However, I like to get into the red news events hours before if it's possible and already have profit locked in. So I like trading the red news events with a swing type of trade in mind, so that if it moves 50 or 100 pips, that I can ride the major trend and not get stopped out too soon. So trading red news events takes some practice, it takes some skill, and it's very lucrative if you know what you're doing. And in the beginning, for a couple of weeks or months, I would just try and, as a newbie, if I were you as a newbie, I would just watch the red news events without trying to trade. Maybe use your vertical red and green lines to place on your chart where you think you would want to place a trade in a real account. Do this in your demo account, and then after the news event, check back to see if your idea of a buy or sell trade was correct, and then analyze the charts. And that's how you can learn how to trade the red news events in a demo account without actually placing the trade. However, in a demo account, it doesn't hurt to place the trade because you can't lose anything. Just don't trade red news events in your live account for several weeks or months until you really understand how most of these can move. So you'd be surprised sometimes that they can move the market really strongly. So you just really have to know what you're doing. You have to study the red news events ahead of time before you ever attempt this in your live account. So thanks so much for watching the video, and happy trading.